The Boys. The Boys is something I really enjoy. Season 1's fucking sick. I think that could have been in great. It was a really fresh new idea. It's a brilliant time to do like a satirical spin on superhero stuff, but also how it uses superheroes as a stand-in for celebrity culture. It's fucking awesome. Season 2 has some cool stuff in it, but it's choppy in its structure and it doesn't really feel like it's building too much. Some characters feel like they didn't really get ample screen time or were partially forgotten about. It did feel a bit messy there. The fucking girls got it done stuff was fucking brilliant though. I loved how it just took the piss out of Marvel pretending to care about fucking certain issues. The way that the boys took the piss out of people pretending to care about certain issues just showcased how much the writers of the boys care about these issues. Fuck it, it's going in good. It could have been in great. Season 2 wasn't perfect. I'm psyched for the next season, sure. Homelander is always fucking excellent. He's a fucking brilliant character. And Invincible is very similar to The Boys. I think The Boys, at least the first season of The Boys, is much better than the first season of Invincible. Sex Education, I did a big 3-part video on this, like when I fucking roasted it. I don't know why I did that, I just ended up fucking doing it. I guess I had loads to say on it. It's not really a show I'd watch normally. I started watching it for like a surfing Netflix thing I did like a year ago. I just ended up like enjoying it on like an easy to watch bingey thing. There's like a high school aspect to it, which is kind of like a warm, fuzzy, cozy blanket to wrap yourself in. It's like, oh, wasn't high school really good? I mean, the high school in Sex Education was nothing like my high school, so I don't really know what I'm relating to. I guess because it's just British people, that's enough. Season 3 was like a pandering monstrosity. That was like very self-indulgent in terms of, oh, students have got it so rough, we need to be able to express ourselves even more sexually. Like, you're all already sexually liberated at the fucking start of the show. How much more do you want? Do you want to be like having orgies in the classrooms? There's no learning. Right, one of the biggest issues that's really plaguing schools at the moment is the lack of opportunity given to the students in terms of careers. It's literally like just a couple of like, you could be like 3 things and that's it. Art is nowhere to be seen. The lack of proper sex education curriculums is its own issue, but I swear in this show it's already been solved like multiple times. It's not boring. It's pandering, yeah. It's not even that funny, and the characters aren't great. Some of it like manages to have some good acting. It's like Netflix. It's like a massive budget. Of course, it's gonna have some like good performances. Do you reckon we're not gonna get any boring stuff? Because really, I wouldn't like watch an entire season of a show that's boring. Maybe not. I don't think we will. The Haunting of Hill House. Hello. Also Mike Flanagan. Slightly weaker than Midnight Mass, but I really like The Haunting of Hill House. Some of it was really scary. It is very goofy at the same time, and like a theatrical horror. I like the characters, even though it is quite cheesy, and you know, I like the theme it presents by the end of it. How this haunted house is like an allegory for shared grief and between like the family members. It's a really good character drama. That's what Mike Flanagan does. He has a really good character drama set in a horror setting. The Squid Game, right? I know it's going there. Squid Game's going there because it started off fucking awesome and like really cool. Like the games are the best part about it. Really intriguing, and like this like facility that they were at, like what is going on here? And there's so many questions. Your imagination's spinning with all these different ideas of what could be going on. And when they answer those questions, it's like shit. It's fucking pathetic. The last 3 episodes, is it? I didn't like how it ended and there was one winner. And it was always like you could only be one winner. Like, if that was the case, why was everyone partnering up with each other? Like, what did they expect would happen? The characters that I initially thought were going to have interesting arcs kind of just, they died. Because that's what happens. It's like, okay, that person's dead. Okay, that person's dead. Guess that's over. The games and the tension created within that, like, it's almost like an act just good on the action, kind of, if you can call it that, on that aspect. The themes it presents by the end aren't like original or interesting. They reveal that it's the old man is the mastermind. That was fucking so like Hollywood and stupid. His whole like philosophy is just, haha, it was a laugh. We just wanted to have fun. Well, how uninspired is that? It really shit the bed with that ending. I really just wasn't interested by the end. I was like, okay, enjoyed the games, but I'm out. You're watching it and you're thinking, okay, what kind of person has made this facility? What kind of beliefs does he have? What's his motivation? Like, you know, Thanos has a really cool motivation for what he wants to do. It could have been so much bigger than just, oh, there was a bunch of rich people playing a game. The nature of the Squid Games feels like a direct response to capitalism and where capitalism's failed. Even it being like Karl Marx who was behind it all would have been more interesting. And also, if you want to get nitpicky now, the Squid Games are supposed to represent pure equality of opportunity, but really there are multiple instances like contradict that in the show. I mean, a lot of it came down to luck, and that's kind of how it works in the real world. Like, some people just get fucking lucky and ascend economically. It's not this pure haven where everything's fair. Also, disabled people wouldn't be able to compete, so it's just like fucking, it's just like the fucking world. You haven't made anything. If you've got a certain disability, you're kind of a bit fucked, aren't you? I guess I wouldn't be nitpicking it if like it delivered on a good ending, I guess. But the OA, okay, I don't know if any of you even know what this is. I think there are multiple seasons now. I've only seen the first season. It was alright. I remember it being like a decent binge-worthy thing. It came out near the time of Stranger Things, and I thought it would be like that. But this was kind of like the time I realised, oh, Netflix just pump out all sorts of stuff that promise to be all trippy but end up just kind of falling flat. I guess it's not bad. It has been so long since I've seen it. It's like about what happens when you die, where you go. The ending is really fucking stupid, out of nowhere, and cheesy. I've no interest to watch on. I'll just put it in not bad. I'm not interested in talking about it. Spoilers for the season 1 finale of the OA. They stop a school shooting with like psychic energy or some shit. It's so stupid. The Crown. Okay, interesting. I watched up to season 4 episode 3, I think. Not necessarily because anything was bad. I just thought, like, I've seen like a lot of this, you know, it's all just like royals, they run into a problem. It's very episodic. On the production value, it's fucking stunning, like the way they recreate Buckingham Palace. You feel like you're watching a bunch of royals. I like the unromanticized lens it shines on the royal family. It probably could be more revealing, considering recent events with Prince Andrew. It probably could be a lot darker than it's letting on here. It's stuff to be like, oh wow, I didn't know the royal family did that, but still nothing in here to make people hate the royal family. I don't think the royal family would really allow an actual revealing piece of media to be made about them on such like a big scale. If you look at it closely, a lot of the messaging of the show is, yeah, it's a unromantic job. It requires a lot of coldness to it, but there is a partial message of, yes, it is all still necessary for the good of the nation. And maybe that's how they get approval from the real royal family to go ahead with the show. I know we might be bordering onto conspiracy shit now, but it's good. It's entertaining. Like, the acting's fucking brilliant, and it's almost entertaining on like a Game of Thrones level, where you kind of pretend it's just supposed to be dramatic and like, oh shit, how are they going to get out of this one? Charles Dance is in it for season 3 and a bit of 4. I always love Charles Dance. There's a lot of really good British actors in it. John Lithgow was good as Winston Churchill. There's a lot of amazing montages, but after a while it does get very repetitive, and they just do the same kind of thing. Episodes have the same structure. It's like a lot of Netflix shows. The locations they go to, like some of the castles, Netflix spares no expense. Gillian Anderson was good from what I saw of her. Now that this Spencer film's out, and apparently that's really good, I've no interest in finishing The Crown. We've apparently just gotten a better depiction of the Princess Diana thing. So where's it going? Maybe it's like the highest of this tier here. It is. It's like the upper echelon of this. Like, kind of a bit like The Punisher, maybe. I don't know. Mr. fucking Robot. Now, there's a Mr. Robot poster behind me. It is my favourite show, and you might say, oh, well, obviously he'll be biased in ranking it. Well, how do you think it became my favourite fucking show? Because I love the fucking filmmaking. Because it demonstrated brilliant fucking filmmaking. That's how it works. That's how something becomes your favourite. It's a well-told story. Anyway, 4 seasons. 4 seasons. It's a finished story. A lot of shows don't stick the landing when they come to end it. Breaking Bad is an example of one that nails the ending. Mr. Robot is another. Season 1 is the most accessible season. Most likely, if you've seen any of Mr. Robot, you'd have at least seen the full first season, and maybe dropped off on season 2. Because a lot of people dropped off on season 2. There's a lot of entertainment value to be had from season 1, but it is the weakest season. And it's still really good. But a lot of it is very derivative of another very famous piece of media. And I'm not going to say because it's kind of a spoiler if I tell you what the piece is. The show is both about hacking and mental illness. The first season is a little bit like hack of the week. Every episode he's hacking and it's really gripping, like, oh my god, what's he going to do now? Season 2 is much more focused on the mental illness side of the show. It is trippy, it is experimental, the pacing is a little bit all over the place. At least it's not fucking formulaic, but that's why everyone dropped off. It's challenging, it's confusing, but in that confusion, Mr. Robot finds its true identity. And moving on to season 3, it starts becoming one of the best shows of all time. And season 3 builds on all the experimental shit of season 2, but is a fast-paced roller coaster of events and emotions, and a sense of dread and consequence within the world that Mr. Robot takes place in. The mental illness stuff is the more interesting stuff for me, but still the hacking scenes are so well edited. The thing about a lot of shows is they'll have a good hook. The hook of Mr. Robot season 1 was the hack a week structure. Now it could have become a formulaic, bankable, easy to digest brand of itself, but instead it did something interesting. It didn't become an empty version of itself. It didn't become like, okay, we need to deliver on the hacking quota or the fast-paced quota or whatever. Compared to season 3, season 4 slows down a little bit. It was supposed to be 5 seasons, but they couldn't do that. The majority of the episodes are directed by one guy. I think there are like 3 episodes he doesn't direct of the entire series. And it's one of the first instances of a show that has the same concentration of a individual artistic vision that films do that we'd normally see in films. It's one of the first shows to be like someone's pure vision, and rivaled only by maybe Twin Peaks season 3. It is the most well-directed TV show of all time. But it's not just like, oh, well, that's an interesting camera movement you did there. Emotionally rich, thematically rich, so many good themes. Season 3 is more about like the plot and like all of the world events that happen in that, but it still has so much time to flesh out the emotional core of the show, and it's one of the best modern depictions of mental illness in cinema. I'm a person who hasn't really ever been wowed by all of the classic twists in Hollywood, like Sixth Sense. Well, I guess you know all of them, don't you? All the big ones. I'm not really a twist guy, but Mr. Robot has some brilliant, inventive, creative, unexpected twists that make sense, are consistent with the show, tell a story. Season 4 has so many amazing twists that are hinted at in the first episode of the show. Again, it seemed like Sam Esmail, the guy who directs all the episodes, had all of this planned out in his head from the very start. Like a Tarantino film, it mixes in so many different styles of other classic films but creates its own identity through all of this fucking huge mixture, like a big chemical fucking like boiling pot. It is fucking astounding, and I can't wait to rewatch it. Rami Malek is amazing. Christian Slater's a fucking badass. Some characters are kind of cringy at times, to be fair, and have like cringy lines, but for the most part, a lot of the characters end up being fucking great. And like you just list off all these characters and like all of them you fucking love and just like are captivated when you're watching them. For film enthusiasts, it is a show that makes you remember why you fell in love with like storytelling and filmmaking. It is emotionally charged at the same time and has the potential to get a sincere emotional reaction out of you. And I've just overhyped the show to fuck. But anyway, keynote tier, easily. I've been waiting to talk about this one after Mr. Robot because it's also directed by Sam Esmail. Sam Esmail directed the first season, and there has been a second season, but it's like a new story, a new thing. I'm not watching it because Sam Esmail didn't do that. I like, why are you keeping it going? The story was over at the end of the first season, but this is like really good, a really gripping, smaller scale to Mr. Robot, but still has cool things to say, feels unique in its direction. Julia Roberts is really good in it. Bobby Cannavale also great and intimidating. There are a lot of very clever and purposeful, creative and technical decisions to illustrate certain things. It's only like 10 episodes and all of them are like 30 minutes. It's super easy to binge. It's proper like understated. It's on Amazon. I really liked it. It's self-contained, cinematographically excellent. Yeah. It's going in great. Fucking hell. Ozark. Okay, I need to like fucking take a minute to remember. I've enjoyed all of Ozark. There are 3 seasons. Each season is an improvement from the last. Jason Bateman directs a lot of the episodes, and he seems to be a really good director, which is nice to see. I've always had a soft spot for Jason Bateman, just because of Arrested Development. It's funny because Jason Bateman plays the same character in every film. It's Michael Bluth. He's been playing Michael Bluth for like the last 20 years. But it's funny taking that Michael Bluth-like character and putting him in the situations that he gets himself into in Ozark, because it's a much more serious, scary, threatening situation. It's like the criminal underworld. It's a lot like Breaking Bad, but it is much more focused on the money laundering side of it, so that's kind of what makes it unique and stand apart. And again, as it goes on, it develops a more and more distinct style. Laura Linney is fucking fantastic in this show. The young girl in it, she's great. I'm excited for the next season. The directions they take with the arcs of each character are very interesting and unexpected based on how the show starts and what you think would happen with this family. The whole family, like both the kids, are solid as well. There's a lot of good characters. I kind of just want to see where it all ends up. I'll put it in great for now. Fuck it. Mandalorian. Okay, so there's 2 seasons of Mandalorian. Fucking hell. This first season is here. The second season's there. I like the second season a lot more than the first. It's amazing what online streaming shows have become when you're watching that first episode of Mandalorian and this budget, the scale. The first season had a really awful episode that was mimicking the Seven Samurai Magnificent Seven story. Awful episode. I wasn't really fussed by the characters in that, but the second season just felt so much more exciting for me. Bill Burr's inclusion was great. It's all episodic, but the episodes in the first season just felt kind of lame and like overly simplistic, trivial side quests in an RPG. And when they did try to do emotional stuff, it was really cringy. But this, I don't know, just something about it was just way more spectacular and immersive and interesting in the second season. I'll put it here for now. Fuck it. That's going off the second season. Oh yeah, Boba Fett, that was cool. Mindhunter. Last but certainly not least. We haven't got it's not going down here. We haven't got a single Jessica Jones fucking one. That's kind of mad. No one has reached those depths yet. Okay, Mindhunter. There are 2 seasons. They are directed in the style of David Fincher. He directs like a couple of the episodes. You know how like the head honcho director directs the first 2 episodes and sets the style for the whole show. It's David Fincher's style. David Fincher is the master of dark serial killer thrillers about true stories. Like, you know, you got Zodiac, and Seven isn't a true story, but still. He is a very capable director who deserves all that recognition. One of the most famous modern directors. And Mindhunter's fucking brilliant. Apparently people thought this first episode of the whole show was shit. I kind of liked it. I don't really remember it being shit. I thought the first scene was like sick. It's a really interesting subject. It's about the FBI in, I think, the 70s, when they first started to understand a bit more about mental health and what leads serial killers to do the things they do based on like how they were raised and what happened to them. So it's about the psychology of serial killers, and it's like when the FBI first started looking into that. It's so interesting. I don't know if one season's particularly better than the other, but season 2's fresh in my memory. That was fucking brilliant. I don't know. It's a Netflix show, by the way. I don't know why Mindhunter isn't one of the most talked about Netflix shows ever, because it has all the characteristics of your popular Netflix trendy shit, but it's actually good as well. Like, everyone loves the fucking serial killer shit. Everyone loves watching documentaries about horrible people doing fucking disgusting things. Everyone loves a good period piece and like a gripping, bingeable show that's a bit dark. It fits all of the criteria. From my understanding, David Fincher is struggling to get a 3rd season made, which is just fucking criminal that is even happening. Rivaled perhaps only by BoJack Horseman. It's one of the very best shows on Netflix. It is essential viewing. It's a show about FBI agents who travel around America to different prisons and interview famous serial killers and try and figure out how their mind works. And somehow barely anyone's talking about this other than like the film chads. But yeah, I don't know, it's criminally underrated. And I don't like using that word, but yeah, it's fucking spectacular. Anyway, so that about does it. We're done. Completed. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the magic tier list video. I hope this gets loads of views. It fucking better. Honestly. This isn't easy, you know. Sitting on my arse talking about TV shows. Please let me know your opinions in the comments. Your opinions on these shows. In the comments, please. Where would you have put Low-Key or Sex Education or Queen's Gambit? What would you have put in Kino? What would you have put in Jessica Jones season 2 tier, if you would have put any at all in there? Yeah, comment. Go tier list video, get the algorithm. I'm ordering you, get in the algorithm.